A few months ago, I made a video called Is Bleach Brave Souls Dying? From the perspective of someone who's played the game since the first anniversary. And in that video, I expressed about how I felt like the game was actually in a good spot, but I kind of changed my mind now. I think this 10th anniversary actually failed to deliver in many ways, and players are now disappointed and pissed off. KLab definitely fumbled with the anniversary, and people are now canceling the subscription packs with the stupid changes that KLab has made. First off, I want to address some of the stupid changes I've seen from this anniversary. In this anniversary and just recently, KLab introduced a debuff called Status Ailment Plus for game modes such as Guild Quest and Limit Breaker. And now this is basically your typical status ailment debuff, but the difference is that instead of needing 100% status resistance for your characters, you now need 200% status resistance in order to counter this debuff. Honestly, this change wouldn't be terrible if they introduced more difficult content while keeping the previous content the same as it was before, but instead they basically just made the pre-existing content more difficult by requiring you to have a unit with 200% status ailment in order to clear the content while keeping the rewards practically the same. So instead of just introducing a new difficulty in Guild Quest such as Nightmare Plus, where they would have a debuff such as Freeze Plus and that could give you more rewards if you're able to clear it, they basically made the pre-existing difficulty, which is Nightmare, more difficult for no reason. The people managing this game must feel thinking we're stupid because this is essentially trying to lock the difficulty of the content in the game behind a paywall instead of doing something more innovative to improve the game. The second part I wanted to address is the oversaturation in this game. So something that really annoyed me about this year and this anniversary itself is how every single banner and event has the phrase 10th anniversary in it. For example, why the freak are we calling every banner a 10th anniversary special? The Aslan Viva banner with Aslan, Driscoll, and Nanana was called a 10th anniversary special. Like, how the freak does that make sense? Don't get me wrong, the fillers in that banner aren't bad, but it doesn't make sense why we're calling every single V1 banner a 10th anniversary special. I also saw one banner called the Thank You Summons, which has some pretty outdated units that most people should not be summoning for in the big 2025. When I look at the characters in that banner, this seems more like a fuck you from KLab as opposed to a thank you. The only character here that is remotely useful is the Mugetsu Ichigo, and that is primarily because of its soul trait, but everyone else here is almost never going to be used for content in the game. If KLab really wanted to say thank you to its player base with this banner, they would have included the renewed Byakuya and the renewed Aizen in this banner. Now, the third thing I wanted to bring up is that the player base and community is definitely dwindling. I'm saying this based on the viewership in not just my channel, but across the YouTube space for Bleach Brave Souls as well. So my best video last year was the 10th anniversary summons, which got around 28,000 views. My best video this year, which was the renewed Aizen and Byakuya bait banner, was only able to reach a third of that viewership. That video got about 8,000 views. Now, I don't want to say just because my viewership has been down compared to last year that it's a clear indication that the game is dying, but also if you guys really take a step back, this game has been losing a lot of its YouTubers and the community for the past 10 years. Two of my favorite YouTubers were Rawad and Spiteful Hopes, and I was very sad to see Rawad quit the game, but when Spiteful Hopes quit playing, I felt like the community lost a huge part of what made the game great. I also see people comparing Spite to Arenero and that Arenero is holding the fort, but guys, Spite and Arenero are two completely different people in terms of personality, and I feel like what made Spite a good YouTuber was how he was willing to criticize KLab for their shortcomings and a lot of the stupid changes that KLab tends to make. Arenero criticizes KLab sometimes, but he definitely sugarcoats a lot of the stuff he says, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. Regardless, more and more people are definitely quitting the game and players are not returning, which I think in my opinion is the biggest issue for this game, because if people quit this game, then this game will eventually die out. In the past, people would take a break and then return, but nowadays most players are just quitting, and I think this anniversary was a huge letdown in terms of bringing enough content to the game and getting players back into the game. Finally, the last thing I wanted to look at was the financials. If you guys take a quick look at KLab's quarterly financials, it is bad, and when I say bad, I mean very bad. This year, they are down 25% in revenue, which means they are not making enough sales. And if you look at these numbers, it is not surprising that they laid off 100 employees a few months ago. I think what's crazy is that because they only had a reported estimate of about 400 employees last year, in 2024, laying off 100 employees essentially means laying off a quarter of their workforce, which is kind of crazy in my opinion. Not just that, but if you guys look at their stock, it has been down 74% since the time they have went public, which means less shareholder money is coming into the company. And honestly, now that I think about it, I do feel like they probably let go of a bunch of employees who were on the Bleach Brave Souls team, which is why I feel like this anniversary was so freaking dog shit. I also saw a post on Reddit comparing the 9th anniversary to the 10th anniversary, and I think the comparison is a good reflection of how bad this year's anniversary really was. So last year in June of 2024, K-Lab released a pre-anniversary banner with the Nanao, Ichigo, and Shenzui, which lets you choose one of the banner characters at step 10. This year, they released the most disgusting bait banner with the most garbage format in the history of Bleach Brave Souls as a pre-anniversary banner, and this one featured the infamous renewed Aizen and the renewed Byakuya. So that was already a huge letdown in terms of hype and a massive fuck up on K-Lab's part. As for the actual 9th and 10th anniversary in terms of round 1 and round 2, I would say it's identical, but the big difference maker is the amount of free rewards that K-Lab handed out. During the 9th anniversary, K-Lab gave us a bunch of choose a 6-star tickets for each attribute, in addition to the free 1,000-year Glowworld ticket, in addition to the release of the anniversary Senkaimon Tower. In other words, the 9th anniversary celebration actually provided more rewards to its players than what the 10th anniversary did, which doesn't really make much sense because the 10th anniversary in any game should be a huge celebration with lots of rewards given back to its players for making the game go on for an entire decade. Sure, you can argue we have the 10th anniversary exchange, but no matter how you look at it, most players would much rather have the choose a 6-star tickets for every attribute. That is pretty much it for this video. I do want to see this game do well, but K-Lab has been hardcore fumbling it the past year with the 10th anniversary, and I also canceled my subscription packs as well when I saw how K-Lab was handling GQ as well as the limit break requests with the whole 200% status ailment debuff bullshit. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure to stay safe and stay healthy.